Hello and welcome to a Sunday edition of the Rampant Mumblings. Now, yes, I know, people don't podcast on a Sunday because it's a dead spot, but that's never stopped me from being conventional, so here we go with Sunday's edition of the Rampant Mumblings, and it's...
Good news, everyone!
As my fabled quest for a set of Bluetooth headphones has finally come to fruition. It's come to fruition in the form of the Bluedio M2 Sports M2 Bluetooth headphones running sports activewear. Yes, that is the actual description as given on the Amazon website. Now, these only cost £12.95 and they're Bluetooth, and it would be easy to scoff at a set of headphones costing $12.95, let alone a Bluetooth set of headphones. Blimey, it's one of those mornings, you can tell that I've been up since 6. The Bluedio M2 headphones take that notion and they do leave it a crumpled mess on the floor. Now at this sort of price feature, you'd be forgiven for thinking that these would be deprived, scraping the bottoms of passability in terms of spec, features and sound quality. And you'd be wrong. Now, cutting straight to the chase, these headphones are nothing short of amazing, especially when you take it to the equation of price plus features versus performance. So before we go into sound, let's take a look at the construction. Now, given the price point, you'd be easily forgiven that the Bluedio's construction and durability isn't going to be up to much. Now, granted, some parts do look plasticky, and anything metal is that plastic that's sort of got that silver coating on it. But after a few days of hard use, going out running, being carried in a bag less than protective than it should be, slung into the car and everything else like that, they've held up really well. There's been no signs of creaking, no cable rattle or anything like that. Now these weigh 16 grams, which is only 4 grams less than Apple's offerings. And with a flat cable connected to 2 speaker drivers, not only are these lightweight on the ears, but they also prevent that dreaded tangled mess of headphone cords, which we all know you get when you use the Apple headphones. Like I said, all of the shiny parts are just plastic, and only time will tell if the shiny sort of metal coating painty thingy, there's a technical word for you, will rub off. As I've only had these for a few days, I'm not entirely sure. The only small ding I've got against them in terms of construction is the cap covering the USB port, which has all the hallmarks of easily breaking free with a bit of usage, and so you're going to leave your headphone connector, the USB connector exposed. So getting started with the Bluedio M2, pairing is fuss-free. No pairing codes or anything silly like that. Not like in the old days with Nokias, when if you lose the code, you have to go and look it up on the internet or find the small remember that's underneath the arch. Pairing is completely fuss-free, and you even get a really strange accent. If they go, well, for example, when you turn them on, you get this really strange American accent female called the Saf in my review. It goes power R, and it's really, really weird. So the strange American accent female Saf also makes an appearance when you hit the minimum or maximum levels of the volume. If it takes you fancy, you can change between the languages by pressing the power up button and the power up button and the power on button to turn you into the Chinese strangely accented female. So with regards to controlling the unit, raised nipples, I actually managed to get the word nipples into review. Yes, the Chinese lives on. Raised nipples give you digits a fighting chance of finding the top and bottom of the volume rocker and the power button. Whilst running, I did find a good point of reference was to sort of cut my thumb onto the back of the control unit and then put my finger around the front. It's sort of like a pinching mechanism to get the right point on the controller. The power button is close, almost too close to the volume button, meaning that more than once I've managed to either turn off the headphones or change the accent in from the strange American accent female to the Chinese strange American accent female. Voice notifications are built into the headset, which is not bad, but they do present a slight issue. Pressing and holding power, for example, to initiate the voice commands on your iPhone, initiates the verbal announcement of voice dialing, which can sometimes talk over the Siri ding-ding sound. When you just have a lag of Bluetooth connected to the phone and then Siri starting its sound and it enabling sound in the headphones, it's not too bad. So let's move on to music quality. I've seen other headphones similar to these before, both in price range and, well, haven't seen it in specs if I'm honest, but the ones at the similar price range have been mono. And truth be told, I really wasn't expecting much from the stereo offerings of the Bluedio. But I've got to say, the stereo quality and the general sound quality overall is right up there with the Apple headphones. Now, for the sake of this review comparison's sake, I've based the quality against the Apple headphones as arguably the most widespread headphones on the planet. Both share the same frequency response of 20 Hz and 20 kHz, similar impedance, and if it wasn't for the squishiness of Bluetooth, I would argue that the sound and the quality would surpass that of the wired headphones, and that's quite impressive. The stereo music, or the music I tested with, is split well between the two speakers, with sound separation being clear and concise. As I've said, the sound is spread nicely from bass to treble to mid-range, being clear enough. Bass is apparent, and while it is a touch hollow, that's probably down to part of the Bluetooth codec more than the headphones. It really does depend on what you're listening to. Crank up the volume a touch and the speakers sound more active with more sound being revealed, and I'd be surprised if after a period of bedding in things wouldn't get better. Now, these things are loud. At minimum settings, I'd place it just below half of that when using an iPhone and the standard Apple headphones. At maximum damage, you really are going to run a risk of ear damage. And what I have noticed about the sound quality is that throughout the review process, I've been listening to music and what I've had playing, rather than noticing the quality of the sound. And that, to me, makes these a darn fine set of headphones. Sound quality doesn't fare so well on phone calls, again thanks to Bluetooth. Phone call quality exposes Bluetooth compression, and the best example I can think of is if you've ever had a phone call drop from 3G to a 2G connection, and that sort of degrading quality. That's the sort of sound quality you're going to get on all phone calls, as far as I can tell. Now, I might have just been unlucky, but that seems to be the average for me so far. Siri's also struggled to get a few things right, but I don't know if that's me, the headphones, as Siri has been a little bit off with me ever since the Apple Watch came out. No matter what they say in the WW keynote, I would not take those accuracy results to heart at all. In the description, it does say non-active noise cancelling. Now, because Bluedio don't actually have a US or English site, I don't know if they're meant to say no active noise cancelling or if it's non-active noise cancelling. But I don't see how you could have something that's noise cancelling but not active. So, let's move on to comfort. These are in-ear headphones, and they have that special sort of gel grippy thing that goes inside your ear and around. That's hard to explain actually. It goes in your ear, but not actually in your ear canal. And once in place, these aren't going to fall out or go anywhere. 3 fittings are provided, and whilst the headphones certainly don't feel invisible when they're in your ear, I personally found it was good enough comfort-wise. And not to the level of comfort is that when I was wearing these just the other day, I realised I'd had them in for 3 hours, and I hadn't really noticed that they were in or causing me any discomfort. So, as these are active headphones, what are they actually like while out running or cycling? Well, if you've ever used headphones, you'll know just exactly how annoying it is to have a cable. The relief of no rubbing, noise transference, or that moment your cable snags on something, ripping your earbuds out of the ear, and normally the foam out of your secure enclave of your pocket is awesome. No other word for it. To operate them, the button pressure is about spot on, and whilst the controls are close together, it doesn't really represent a problem after you've got used to it a little bit. The control unit is about 2 inches in length, I would say, and about 5mm across. And I had been worried before I purchased these about how much that's going to tug and pull and especially bounce when you're running. But the good news is it barely registered with me. After a 4-mile run, I had no complaints whatsoever. It didn't rub against my face. You don't feel them bump up and down, and you don't get any of that flapping like you do with the cable type headphones. The only downside I can speak of is that the wind really does rattle around these. They don't rattle inwards, if that makes sense, but because you've got the gel parts that go into your ear, it does tend to rattle around that. So unfortunately, now, like I said to you earlier on, the Bluedio website doesn't have an English version, nor do they appear to have a UK base or USA base of operation. So when you order, it does come straight from Singapore. Now, mine took 3 weeks, I think, but the postage was ridiculously cheap. For me, it was about £4.50. So £20 for a set of Bluetooth headphones that sound as good. Now the spec is Bluetooth 4.1 plus EDR. They support A2DP, AVRCP, HSP, HFP. Drivers are 10mm, and the rest of the stuff I'll put into the show notes. The stuff you probably want to hear about is the operating distance is up to 10 meters. The talk time is 7 hours. Music time, about 7 hours. Fully charged, they'll last on standby for about 220 hours. And to charge them up fully takes about 2 hours. I've been going on for 10 minutes about a set of headphones that's only cost me, for the best part, £18. So overall, well, quite frankly, so far, these are amazing. Now, yes, judging them against the Apple earbuds is pretty much a low bar, but you know, the Apple earbuds aren't that bad considering. You know, I've had headphones that have cost around about the same price as the Apple ones, and they've been absolutely shocking. It's like those old radios where the bass speaker's blown out and all you hear is tss, 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 tss. Granted, as they aren't the most expensive units in the world, they are a little bit bulbous, I would say, but no much more than, say, the Jaybird Sports that I used to have, which used to come out of your ear in like a Lieutenant Uhura communicator style. The sound quality is actually none too shabby, which gives it between a 7.5 to a 9. It's just unfortunate that Bluetooth compression does its squishy thing. Comfort, again, I've got to go with an 8 or a 9 because it does come with 3 tips. And remember, these are less than £20. Durability, again, I'm going to give that another 8 because so far, so good. Again, only tested it for a few days, but they certainly don't look like they're going to rub or give out or anything. The only downside I can see with these headphones is that it looks like there's going to be a complete and utter lack of support. Like I said, the website is in Chinese only, and from what I can see, there's no American website or Twitter either. Now, I have reached out to them on Twitter. I'm going to try it again after this review. So, overall, I've got to give these a 9 out of 10, and that sounds absolutely preposterous, but you know what? You're not going to go far wrong with these headphones. If you are interested, then please use the Amazon link at the bottom because it does help me continue going with podcasting and investing in equipment. And until the next ramp-up mumblings, I hope you've enjoyed this one. If you have, leave a bit of feedback. Go on, it's really appreciated. You can do it knowing that you're doing something good, and then karma will come your way for the rest of the day. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, and everywhere else. And like I say, please leave a bit of feedback. It is genuinely appreciated. If you want to keep up with me in my world to see what I'm doing and see just how badly my training is going, but I will be posting updates on the Bluedios, you can find me at Ocean Speed. And finally, you can catch all my other writings, reviews over at Essential Mac, along with the odd appearance on the Mac Info Show, Deeper Look podcast, and Not Another Mac podcast. That should be enough to keep me going. So until next time, ta-da everybody.